Welcome to the Medical Collective, your go-to podcast where medicine meets real life. I'm Dr. Keisha Davis, a pathologist, personal trainer, and your host. I will be joined by a vibrant team of doctors who are not just healthcare professionals, but artists, fitness enthusiasts, and advocates for change. Each episode, we dive deep into the world of medicine, from untold stories of the healthcare industry to the latest in medical advancements. We're here to bring your insights, answer your burning questions, and explore the art and science of healing. So let's get started and step into the world of the Medical Collective. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Medical Collective. This is a solo episode with your host, yours truly, Dr. Keisha Davis. I'm always glad to be here, especially starting another year, but because it is a big time for many of us. I have a special birthday coming up in less than 6 months, as we call it, one of those milestone birthdays. And I was thinking about that. I'm thinking about, every year, every special time we may have, and we start these resolutions. We start these big, lofty goals that sometimes we can't quite meet. And I wanted to talk about it. Should we be having these big goals, these resolutions? I think we need to start rethinking it, because every January, every special occasion, we have a new goal. We try to change our habits. We try to get these new routines. And then a few weeks later, we disappoint ourselves, we give up, and we feel like we failed. And what happens? You're like on that wheel. You're on that hamster wheel, and there's got to be a new way. What if the problem is not you? What if the problem is the way that we think about health goals? So I want to talk about how we can rethink our resolutions today. I am not against goals or resolutions, let me tell you that. Especially also as a personal trainer, I believe we need to set them. But the way that we are setting them is what we need to rethink. So let's talk about it. First of all, myself included, but I learned a long time ago, why are we continuing to start over? Why? The pattern that I see over and over again is that we set these goals. We're setting somebody else's goals, first of all. We set these goals that we see on Instagram, on TikTok. We're part of these big groups, initiatives, and 80% of the time, they fail. And there's data behind it, to be honest. We try to get on this rigid timeline. We try to attain goals that may not even work with our lifestyle. And then when we don't meet them, we don't rethink them. We try to do the same thing over and over again and get the same results, which is failure, unfortunately. So studies are showing that nearly 80% of New Year's resolutions fail by February. How many of you all join a gym? And you may say, I hear a lot of people say, I hate the gym, but yet you join a gym. That's not the only way to work out, by the way. You join a gym and then you wonder by February why all of the people that joined in January are gone, right? It was all fun and games until after a few weeks into it, you don't see them anymore. You don't see the same drive and fervor as you had 3 weeks prior. Studies are showing that it's not because people are lazy, but because the goals are often realistic. And I agree with that. They're restrictive. You're trying to set a goal that you may not even attain because it's not even something that can fit in your lifestyle. And social media does not help. How many groups do you see right now that are starting for the new year? Rethink, restart, recharge. We're constantly shown these before and after photos, right? And you're like, oh my gosh, look what they did in 20 days or 30 days. And now with GLP-1 agonists, that doesn't help. You see all these people on medicine, and you see these before and afters, and you want to be part of the train. I know I am not meant to be on everybody's train, bus ride, car ride, what have you. And I think we need to all think about that. And it really starts within. And sometimes it requires a professional to help you, which is why I always believe that if things are not working, you need to seek a professional. And that's not a online influencer guru. That is a professional for you. From a medical standpoint, it does not make sense to look at someone else, and I do it myself, and compare and think that you can do exactly what they did to get those results. Health does not reset on January 1st. It doesn't reset when I turn my milestone birthday, or you turn your milestone birthday. All of a sudden that day, it's not an epiphany. By this day, I need to look like X, Y, and Z. It just doesn't. Your cardiovascular system doesn't reset on January 1st. Some of you may wish it does. As we get older, our hormones do not reset. So we sometimes also have to rethink our goals as we age and as we get older. I see from clients when I trained them that they'll say, I fell off, so I just stopped, or I gave up. And that's another thing. Nothing is all or nothing. I went to the gym today, you all. I was traveling with my daughter, visiting family, and then I didn't get sick, though, traveling, because I did all the precautions. I masked up. We were immunized, all of that. But I had a very bad headache and a lot of stress. So when I got back, I was going to go back to my favorite place, which is a heated workout place. And I decided I wasn't feeling great. But instead of giving up, because I pulled my muscle, a muscle in my neck as well, I was really in a lot of pain. I'm not going to do all or nothing. I'm going to go and give it as much as I can give it. A lot of us think if I can't do that HIIT workout, or I can't hit the gym heavy, then I'm just not going to go today. But there are alternatives. And I think it really starts with sometimes saying, instead of saying it's all or nothing, I'm going to try something. And then I was surprised. In the heat, I was able to do more than I expected. Yes. The real issue is how we really define success. I used to define success as I had to be the best, the top, the hardest, the strongest. I had to hit the highest weights. And that's really not success. Success is individual. It's based on you. It's based on the day. My success today is not going to be the same as it was last week or 20 years ago. And we have to rethink the way we think about it. I also think that we need to look at our goals and realize how realistic they are or not. A lot of research shows that these modest, sustained changes in physical activity and nutrition are more effective and can reduce your risk of chronic disease, including heart disease, diabetes, than these quick fads that we see on TV. It's not about that at all. It's not about trying to get something in 30 days or 7 days. If someone promises you that, that's probably not exactly for you. And I say that to people all the time when they're like, what do you think about the ketone diet or that? And I'm like, I believe in healthy living and eating that works for you. If you work at the hospital, long days, if you travel a lot, your routine is not going to look like somebody else's that's home or has access to other things. You have to think about that as well, that you have to have something that fits into your lifestyle. If you know that you have anxiety in being large groups or gyms, who says you have to go to a gym to work out? I work out at a place now that is it's a hot training program. However, it's in small pods, so I can go on my app and set when I'm going to go work out based on the time of day. And if I see it's crowded and only 3 people in a pod, I don't have the anxiety. Yes, even I have anxiety in working in big groups, unless I'm like teaching the group or something. So you've got to find a program that works for you. You could do virtual training. That's okay. There's so much equipment you can do at home, Pilates, so many different things, running, soccer, that your regimen doesn't have to look like someone else's. But I tell you what, if you love it, if you smile, if you love dancing like me and you enjoy it, that's going to last. That's why I can say now, almost 30 years later, that I'm still doing what I love, because I realize what works for me. And that's what's going to stick. You also have to realize that healthy habits have byproducts that are good, right? Healthy habits like running or dancing are going to inevitably lead to muscle tone, better cardiovascular and cardiorespiratory progress, you're going to see results. So you don't have to have your goal that I want to be able to drop 10 pounds. Your goal can be, I'm going to move my body the recommended amount, right? At least 4 to 5 times a week for 30 minutes. I'm going to do these type of movement exercises. I'm going to do body weight training. I'm going to find a healthier way to eat my favorite foods. I'm going to cook, or I'm going to try different things, right? Not canceling it, but replacing. That you're going to try these different habits, and those habits are going to lead to the changes you want, right? And you also have to be able to realize that it's not about perfection, it's about consistency. Especially when the bad days happen, when the family illnesses, when the traumatic events happen. If you are in this rigid, set way of doing things or trying to do a fad, you're not going to be able to adapt to that. But if you're doing things slow and consistency, like I said, traveling or something happening, I'm able to adapt better because my lifestyle is already set in, and I'm able to change things or take off a little bit because I'm doing a little bit at a time. I'm not setting these high expectations. Also, doing these goals that fit a strict regimen that you're not used to can lead to quick fatigue. It can be so painful that you're just like, I really don't want to do that again, right? Because the feeling that was with it was that it was stressful, it was tense, it didn't feel right. Now, there's going to be some uncomfortable times, especially if you're so used to sugar, right? And getting off that sugar, that you can feel uncomfortable. But I don't believe it has to be this cold turkey either. You're going to slowly change things over to where it adapts to you. You will see. Also, when you make slow changes, you're able to see, oh, that didn't work quite well, so I'm not going to stick with that. But if you just cut so many things off at once, you really don't know what worked and what didn't. So you want to make sure that you're doing slow, steady, so you don't erase the progress as well that you had. A missed workout, it's okay, right? Instead of saying, I don't have 45 minutes to spend at the gym, today when I get home, I'm going to do 20 minutes on a virtual workout. I'm going to do 20 minutes taking my dogs. I have 2 Dobermans. So taking them is a workout. They're more leash trained. Some days they're more leash trained, but when they pull me, that's a whole workout in itself. So ask yourself what works best for me. And if you need an expert to help you, get that help. It's fine. We should start asking a better question. When we fail from something as well, why can't I stick to this? Why didn't this work? What should I do to change things? Sometimes it starts with a lot of our psyche too. Hello, listeners. We want to remind you that you can catch The Medical Collective on all your favorite podcast platforms. That includes Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. Be sure to hit that subscribe button so that you never miss an episode. We're also on Libsyn, and you can find us on all social media platforms as The Medical Collective. Do you have thoughts or questions? Please don't hesitate to reach out. We love hearing from you. Now let's get back to the conversation. There was something when I was thinking about rethinking resolutions, and a better framework was that we need to start thinking about our emotions as well. When you talk to people that have emotional eating, when you talk to people that feed their bad days, right, with a pint of ice cream or whatever, or just cry, and crying's okay, but when you just do things that you know may not be the best for you, you need to start rethinking your reactions to those responses. And that can help with your goal setting. So if you're trying to set a goal, a healthy goal, your emotions cannot get in the way of that goal. So when you're feeling frustrated or mad, you've had a bad day at work, and you know you're going to go towards that food that's going to actually make you feel worse, right? That cycle. Start to write down, when I'm feeling this way, this is going to be my reaction. I'm going to journal. I'm going to get up and dance. I'm going to throw in some music. So now you are consciously having a response that's positive. And over time, you are going to unconsciously have that as a reaction. And that's going to help with your goals because now you're not allowing your emotions to get the best of you. So let's think about it like this as well. Instead of saying a resolution, think of it as a season. Instead of like outcomes, as I mentioned, think about behaviors, right? I'm going to start dancing more. I'm going to start improving my flexibility. And when you improve your flexibility, when you move more, you will see the results you expect. And medicine supports this, fitness supports this, and honestly, with lifestyles demanding it, you need to do this for you. When your stress is down, chronic disease, high blood pressure, diabetes, all these things can improve just by changing the way you think about goals. When you set an unattainable goal because you want your body to look some way, that doesn't mean internally or stress-wise that you've improved anything, right? When you're done with that, you set that goal, but now when you're done with it, you're so exhausted from it, right? That you go back to the same habits. So it's really about habit changing. Movement that fits your life. I've mentioned before, nutrition that's not extreme. I don't tell everybody to do what I do. I don't tell everybody to be dairy-free and don't eat meat. But I do encourage them to find better ways to eat it. And because I'm not a nutritionist, I always suggest to people that don't know to speak to somebody that knows. And that includes a baseline conversation with nutritionists. I know so many people want to do meal plans for you. You see all these great things, but if you really don't know where to begin, what is going to harm you about talking to a nutritionist? You might be surprised, and even I will be surprised at what they can suggest or give you based on your daily habits, right? If you're from a certain culture, you don't need to stop eating that food. You see online these people saying all this stuff they do, or I see cooks that are plant-based. I don't cook like that. So I see them chopping up stuff in the food processor and I start panicking. I'm like, I'm not doing all that. And so my workaround is I buy already cut up or diced vegetables and fruits. So I kind of do the halfway. I'm not completely homemade, but for me and the way I am, I need some type of meal prepping that's done for me. Because that doesn't make me happy. There are some people that it makes them happy to be in the kitchen. So then that's great. If that makes you happy, start in the kitchen. And that's actually good for your mental health and your stress if you love cooking. But it just depends on the person. So somebody else may have to get their food already prepared the way they will eat it. So I want you to remember this. The progress that you're looking for, it doesn't disappear just because you have to pivot. If you change your goals, if something you tried doesn't work out, it's okay. It'll feel like you're backtracking, but to be honest, you're staying steady. I used to be, if you remember the tortoise and the hare, I used to be the hare. I promise you. When I was in college and going into medical school, I thought everything had to be fast and done in a certain way. But then I started to fatigue. I started to get knee injuries, shoulder injuries, and especially as I started to dance, I realized that's not sustainable, right? What's going to sustain me? If I want to be in my 50s feeling and looking great, I've got to do sustainable movements and sustainable eating habits, and I can't do a quick fix. And I will tell you, it'll last longer. I've seen a lot of people reach a goal, and then right after the goal, they're back to it. So you will be okay. You will not be the hare. You'll be the tortoise that's like, I told you to keep going, because there's going to be storms. There's going to be all kind of stuff thrown your way. And if you're rooted in a routine that works for you, you're not going to be moved by everything else. You're not. So why does this matter for the longevity of your life? For disease prevention, right? As a pathologist, I'm always thinking about what's under the microscope. Is that From a medical perspective, mindset has real consequences. It truly does. This thing up here, this brain, your mind, I know that disease can happen in disease processes, but the way you're thinking about it can affect the progression of it. It 100% can. Listen, there are some cancers that are going to take over regardless. There's those high-grade cancers. But there are some people that live in a mindset that you're going to be living with this, right? So your quality of life. What is your quality of life? And that's based on how you're approaching things, how you're thinking about it. It's the same thing about when we're doing these goals. The one of the big things for me is about healthy goals is that it's for cancer prevention and cardiovascular disease prevention. Like these goals are allowing you to regress or progress away from bad health, burnout as well. I hope you all listened to the episode where I talked about my own personal burnout at work, and I couldn't meet the goals that I wanted to in other parts of my life, even working out, because I was so stressed at work that it was pushing back, right, all my milestones. Because I was having headaches, I was having chest pain. I thought I was so sick, and when I went home, I just laid down. So if you have these goals or mindsets, or for me, breathing, meditation, finding joy in other things, that will allow you to work better, and that'll allow you to progress in your goals better just by setting these things in a different perspective, right? So it's not like, oh my gosh, on this day, I need to set these goals. Basically, we should be thinking about this all the time. And now is better than never, but don't say on this day, I need to have all of these goals set. Right? It's slowly. I started to put in my phone these reminders about things I needed to do every day. So you can do the same thing with your goals and put them into buckets. You have your mental health, right? Whether it's breathing, praying, what have you. You have your social goals, right? Getting out helps, talking to people. Your physical goals as working out and health and eating right? And your financial goals as well, because to be honest, you can't progress if you're also worried about finances. So all of those things actually work together. That's another reason why sometimes when you see people on social media speaking about a goal, they're missing so many facets, or a lot of the things you don't see that are happening behind the scenes. It's kind of like, I remember this dancer that used to teach, and he would kind of skip all of the steps and show the dance. But people don't know what it took for him to get to that point, right? Learning proper technique, the stretching, all of that stuff. And so it's the same thing. You may see people that are telling you, oh, if you just do this, this will be the result. But they're not telling you the financial, the meditation, all the other things that it requires together to be able to get that success. So that's important too. Being consistent, again, being consistent. Those sustained, moderate behaviors, right? We're not doing anything. We're not being the hare. Unless we're doing a race, right? We're doing a short race, then we could be the hare. But this health is built over decades. Your insides, they need you to love them from the time you are born. And if you don't, then in your 20s. And I used to tell people it's funny because a lot of, my daughter included, they look at us that are older as, oh, we have no strength, we have nothing. But I tell her all the time, a lot of things may be easier to you now, but if you don't set good habits now, you're going to regret it later. And when I was her age is when I started to set my good habits. And truly, that's why I believe I'm in the great shape I am now, because I started those habits early. It did not happen overnight, y'all. I'm probably one of the people in the family, I don't have high blood pressure. I don't have diabetes. Even if I do have some hereditary characteristics, I don't have those things, but I put the work in. I may not sit there and profess it, but I do put the work in. I do drive past McDonald's and Taco Bell. Those are other things. Those should be goals too. If you're going to McDonald's a lot, your goal should be to stay away and slowly get out of fast food and try whole foods, foods that are in the perimeter of the store. Or if you're like me and don't like to do everything by scratch, is try to find places that source locally and do as healthy as possible, right? Even salads, trying to start with the basic salad and all the vegetables and don't add a lot of dressing and things like that, or cheeses or dairy to it slowly over time. And then you will see the difference and you'll feel better. And you only know when you feel better if you do these sustained, slow changes. Because if you do everything all at once, you will crash. You will crash, and then you'll be like, this wasn't worth it, right? And that's not what we want. So if you've been feeling like you're behind or like you're at all odds and you have to give up, I want to say this clearly. Consistency, rethink your goals, and don't give up. Have guidance. And if that requires a personal trainer, if that requires a physician, of course, right? Because there's different parts of your life. If that requires someone to help you with meditation or a mental health professional or a spiritual counselor, then you get all those things done. So you've got multiple buckets. You need to make sure you're addressing each bucket. And over time, you will see the changes. I think also it's like trying to fix something or a house. If you do it slowly by slowly, you can see what may be hiding behind, right? The floors or in the foundation, the cracks. But you can't get it all done at once. And then if you see the little cracks, then you start to fix them one by one. So don't restart everything. Do things little by little. Pick one thing to continue. One habit, one behavior, one small action. And celebrate the small wins. You always hear all the time, trust the process. Well, you truly need to trust the process. When you are trying to make a resolution, a goal, trust the process to the goal. So that should actually be one of your goals, is to trust the process, enjoy the process, enjoy the journey. How many of us go on trips and think, oh, it doesn't matter how we get there? Well, to me, it does. When I'm flying, I want to be flying in comfort. I have all the things I need. And I still remember my long plane ride or my journey to it. It's just as important as the destination. And we need to be thinking about that. So I appreciate you all for listening in to this. Take care of your health. Make sure that you trust the journey and the process. And rethink your resolutions, right? It's not about starting over. It's about continuing the process, the journey that you've already had. Okay? Until next time, I thank you all. One of the episodes that I do hope that you listen to was a previous episode where we talked with the Colin Kaepernick Autopsy Initiative. And it was a great conversation. So enjoy that and any other episodes that you want. And until next time, be healthy and be empowered. Thank you for tuning in to the Medical Collective. We hope today's episode has left you with valuable insights and a new perspective on healthcare. Don't forget, follow us on social media for more updates and behind-the-scenes content. I'm Dr. Keisha Davis, and it's been a pleasure to share this time with you. Stay healthy, stay informed, and we'll see you in the next episode, where medicine continues to meet real life. Please note that the content provided in the Medical Collective podcast, including text, graphics, images, and other material, is for informational purposes only. The content is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are solely those of the individual authors and guests and do not represent those of the Medical Collective, its staff, and any affiliated entities. The appearance of content on the podcast does not imply an endorsement. Neither the host, Dr. Keisha Davis, the co-host, or any guest of the podcast bear responsibility for the accuracy of the content provided or the use of information received through the podcast. Reliance on any information provided by the Medical Collective podcast, its employees, writers, or guests is solely at your own risk.